Okay, so for the last couple of days slash last couple of weeks, I've been reading a handful of manga so I can make videos on these manga. That's why I haven't made videos for a while. But I've only been watching one series, and that is because that one series has kind of consumed all my time in terms of watching anime, and that one series is Haikyuu. Now, I know that sounds crazy, right? Like, oh my gosh, Haikyuu, like everything you know about it, you've seen on the internet, crazy, right? But it's true. I know Haikyuu is or was a popular series, but I just started watching it now, and I gotta say this is a really good series, regardless of it being a sports anime and also Haikyuu being known with the same amount of stigma as around My Hero, where the fans of the show are kind of weird. But if you can ignore that, then you have a great series on your hands. Now I kind of want to get into the characters. Now the characters are really good. For starters, you have the protagonist of the story, Shoyo Hinata. He's a super hyper high school student who's in love with volleyball. Despite his height, you see the whole plot of the show is Hinata's a short kid playing volleyball. I know it's kind of basic, but he wants to go to nationals and he wants to be the ace of his team, like his idol, the little giant. Despite this, Hinata tries to overcome his troubles and get better at volleyball, go to nationals like his dream entails it he wants to do. Next up, you have Tobio Kageyama. Now, Kageyama would be the secondary main character, just like Hinata. He's also a volleyball-loving high school student who wishes to go to nationals and who wishes to surpass his volleyball senior who taught him everything he knows, Oikawa. But even being taught by Oikawa, he doesn't know everything about volleyball. Now, Kageyama thinks he knows everything about volleyball. That's why in the show, whenever something goes wrong, right, he would get mad whenever he would set the ball and nobody came in and kept the ball in play. He would get mad and blame it on his teammates because he always thought he was in the right. Now, that was before he met Hinata. We see this in the first episode, that he's called King of the Court because of how dictatorship he is and how much his teammates despise him. But when he meets Hinata, he learns that being on a team, it's not about one person, it's about your teammates and the sportsmanship you have. But it also helps that Hinata can even keep up with Kageyama in the first place and the speeds of his set and everything. Now, of course, this being a sports anime, there are a handful of side characters which all get their own amount of screen time, and I think that's where the Haikyuu shines. It introduces a lot of characters to the story, but can balance them really well. They all get a good amount of screen time, so they become memorable to the viewer or the reader. Now, I haven't finished Haikyuu, and I'll make a video on my full thoughts when I finished Haikyuu, but as of right now, I'm on season 3, and that's about halfway over. And I'm enjoying it so far. It's really good, like I said. Like Hinata, I like Hinata as a protagonist. I don't normally like the hyper crazy protagonist, like in stories like Naruto, for example. I don't really like those type of characters. But Hinata's, I guess it's just the stories that I've been reading recently. Like I've started Gantz recently. I've been reading Rookies. I've been reading Akametsu. And I've been reading all these stories. And the protagonist of the story isn't really that hyper, except for maybe Rookies, right? He's a little hyper, but not like jumping up and down hyper, just excited and passionate. But Hinata, while being a passionate volleyball player, he's also just a hyper kid. And I can't really hate him for it because the show balances it really well, because there's moments where Hinata isn't really smart socially. Like something can happen on screen and he could be confused, but at the same time, Hinata knows how people feel and their like emotions over something. Like example, in the show, a character is getting upset that one of the side characters named Tsukishima is not passionate about volleyball but plays it anyway. He asks Hinata, what would you do in this situation? Hinata just tells him, why does it matter what I do? You're his friend, you tell him what you think he should hear. And that's exactly what he does. And I think for me, the reason why I like Hinata was because he's passionate about something, a sport, like how I used to be passionate about baseball growing up, and it kind of just hits home really well. And then Kageyama as well. Kageyama is probably a lot of people when it comes to sports. Like they never want to admit they messed up. They always want to be in control. They always want to be like, oh, I'm the best on the team. And when Kageyama he's getting humbled throughout the entirety of the series that he's not the best. He doesn't deserve to be angry about his teammates messing up. If something happens, it's his fault. And I kind of like that character development, that he's humbling himself. He's getting more sportsman-like, and I think that's really good. The series also has a handful of antagonists. Like I mentioned Oikawa earlier. Oikawa is an antagonist because Kageyama wants to surpass him. So, of course, they have to beat him in a volleyball game. And I think that is really good to have the senior of one of the players be like an antagonist is really, really good instead of just helping throughout the series. He doesn't really help. He just kind of is like, you have to learn on your own. And then when you're ready, come beat me. And I really like that. But as of now, this is all I have to say. I will be making another video on Haikyuu when I finish the series. I know that the anime isn't caught up to the manga. I know the manga is finished, so when I catch up with the anime, I'll probably read the manga. Now, I've seen the art style. Not a fan of the manga art style, but I can power through it. I read Demon Slayer. So, I would like to say this is all I got to say. And if you enjoyed the video, please go down below. Like, comment what you think of the video. Comment if you will check out Haikyuu. And please, go subscribe. Now, I'm sorry for the upload. I've kind of been busy the last couple weeks. I went on vacation for about a week of the 3 weeks that I've been gone. And then the last 2 weeks, life's been catching up to me. And I've also been reading a lot of manga, like I said. I've watched 2 anime, and I'm currently, like I said, on Haikyuu. And I apologize for the absence. Regular upload should be coming 17th. Like I mentioned last month, will be a manga recommendations video. Number 2, I'll be making a playlist of that now since there's going to be 2 episodes. And the 3 manga I'm going to be recommending this time, honestly, they're not really that well popular. I don't see them talked about it much, but I don't know if that matters to you guys about the mangas I recommend, if they're popular or not, but I hope not. And if it does affect you, well, then you should really, really, really enjoy this new one because the mangas are not that very well known. Now, I'll catch you all next time.